shooting, we'd done a bunch of action sequences in the pilot. And I remember getting called up in the office after they just watched dailies from you too. And all we did is sort of action stuff, and this was sort of my first dialogue. And I just remember getting brought up to the office, and they said, this thing, you know, this, it's very quirky, very character loving, you know, it's very Spader-esque, you know, the mannerisms and everything. Could you just try to make it a little less annoying? And I went, what do you mean? They went, that's it, exactly. What's it? Just do less of that. Did it work? No, I don't think so. But the best part about Atlantis is the fact they have Hewlett on there. It's 10 times more annoying than I ever possibly
Just before Claudia, I have to tell the story of Michael and I had met at the screen test, and but you know we hit it off right away. And so on our first script read through, I was impossibly hungover, and so I have my head down and I hear Shanks start to talk, and the thing what was going through my mind was how did they get James Spader? I'm looking down, and at the time you resembled James Spader. And so I looked up, and I'm like, I should have negotiated for way more. They got James Spader. It was uncanny. I mean, when the first time he talked, you know, because read-throughs are, well, especially when you're not drinking until 5 minutes before the read-through, they're very laborious affairs. And everyone at the table literally went, we all thought you were James Spader. Looking good, baby.
No, she's not breastfeeding yet.
Security. Where are you? I came in differently. I turned up to do 2 days work and left 2 years later. I'm kind of like that parties, that's the Australian in me. But what we did, I suppose, we just had this interesting scenario where it was like a renegade unit. It was like second unit, main unit was off doing something else, and we did this little, what they call a bottle-lap, where it's a low budget, the story's contained to only a couple of sets. And it's very story and character driven, which is, you know, fantastic for us. And I think just what Andy, Michael, and I were able to do with it created enough chemistry to justify trying somehow to bring Vala back to make Daniel's life a living misery. So Robert Cooper said to me, "We loved it. Let's just do more of the same. And you just do your thing and just be funny," which is a difficult direction to follow. But they wrote me amazing dialogue. It was really quick, very funny, very playful, lots of energy. So I just took my cues from the script, really. That's all the inspiration I needed.
When I first heard about the part of Anise Ray, it sounded... Oh, my wardrobe, yeah, when I first get there, I'm having my wardrobe fitting, and that lovely sort of breastplate suit. And I believe that Chris said that it was reminded him of 7 of 9, and you started calling me 8 of 10. That was my nickname, although I've heard that my nickname is now Topher Spice.
Okay, let's see, I was 18 or so when my agent first called me about it, and I hadn't worked in a long time. I was like on my last leg. I was just desperate, right? So
We come to this again.
story of my life. So my agent calls me up, Bob Waters, God bless him. He calls me up, he's like, okay, so I got this audition for you. It's a low-budget sci-fi movie. And you have 3 lines, they're not in English, and that's it. I think you should pass it, you're too good for it. I'm like, are you high, Bob? I haven't worked in like 2 years, I need a job. He said, no, it's a small role. 3 lines, not in English, it's nothing, a little low-budget thing. No, there's no small roles, there are only small actors. Right? I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna do it. So I read the script, and sure enough, it's 3 lines, it's not in English. The script is pretty much a plot line throughout the whole thing. And thankfully, I have to say, I was fresh out of the Performing Arts High School in New York. So really, it made a difference that when you're fresh out of acting class, like everything is right there at the front, the forefront of your mind. So it's easy to access. And the whole thing was just improv. It was improv and filling it in with improv and mine. It was just all mine. And that was it. The rest is history. And then Dean Devlin took me through the production offices. And one sketch design at a time, one production thing at a time, I realized this is not a low-budget picture. He showed me action figures.
Episode that you guys are either in or you remember, and why?
Oh no, she said remember. I think for a lot of us, the heroes is probably the ultimate StarGate episode. I think it just really encapsulated, I think, what the formula of StarGate is, which is humor and gravitas and the interpersonal relationships between people. The episodes that I most envied were Prometheus Unbound. And because they just had so much fun, I felt like the first time I met Claudia, they were working on the gag where she's trying to break his neck with her thighs. And I walked in on the rehearsal of that. And I was like, why am I not here? And then for Atlantis, the young man to my left had this episode called Satita. And so needless to say, I saw a cut of it, and I went up to the tower and voiced my displeasure that because I had also let my hair grow out the season before, the off season before he was hired. So I came into the production offices and I said, I think this should be Teal'c's new look. We should have long hair. And they said, well, we actually just hired someone else who kind of has that same hairstyle, and he's younger and better looking than you. And it was Paulie.
Favorite episode? I don't know. I can't remember the titles of all of them. I do know there was a lot. I mean, that season 6 was some pretty big episodes. But as far as Nightwalkers was a lot of fun because there was it was more of a just like us in regular civilian society. So there was some fun scenes to do in there. All the episodes I did with Michael were a lot of fun because I actually really enjoy working with him as an actor. There was a lot of fun play between the two of us that I enjoyed a lot. And then outside of that, the episode, the water one, that was a blast. Being in the water, I don't know what was the redemption. I can't remember. But that was it's just the set builds too. I mean, being on some of the sets that they built made it a lot of fun. They just had some huge, tremendous set builds on that show. But overall, I'd say the whole damn thing was a blast. Absolute blast.
Parker Lewis to a completely different character, and you just ruled that show.
and I'm always excited to see you on screen. I love seeing you on NCIS not too long ago. So my question is, other than the StarGate, what has been some of your favorite roles to play, your favorite cast that you've worked with, and what are some of the upcoming projects that you have going?
Wow, it's been a long tour. It's been a 24-year career. I can't remember, what was the question again? But actually, some of my favorite roles were in films that probably won't really get seen too much. I did a really small film called Foreign Correspondence that had a great character, played an English guy, and it was really simple, kind of like tragic love story type thing. It was a lot of fun. As far as the bigger movies, I mean, I had a great time on Operation Dumbo Drop. The film was fun, but it was because we were in Thailand for 5.5 months, working on a huge budget Disney film, and you can't get any better than those long shoots. Same thing with Drop Zone, Miami for 3.5, 4 months, Key West, Key Largo. You can't beat it. It's a paid vacation, But what's going on now? I mean, I've been writing and producing a bit over the last couple of years. I've been a producer on about 5 films, co-produced a film that I wasn't in called Gangster Rap, the Blockumentary, which is an urban version of Spinal Tap, which will be released by Think Films soon. It's pretty hilarious. And I got a film, a small indie film out. I was producer on and starting called Chicago Massacre, which is out right now. Another one coming out called High Hopes with David Faustino and Jane Hughes in January, and a National Lampoon film that me and David Faustino were both producers and acted in called RoboDoc, which will be ready in October. And then me and him also have a production company together. We have 2 other films from National Lampoon right now, and a couple of series that we're developing with Renegade and VH1. And it's been going good. It's been a long ride, and I'm ready for the long haul.
Question on the left. We have that mic there.
Because take after take, what you can eat is Jello, man. If I eat mashed potatoes and Salisbury steak for 10 takes.
What did you just say? Just say.
Try acting with him. Just open my heat.
I think. Oh, God, I'm shocked. I think it started off in film. Eating sequences are a little bit difficult. Both you don't want to get food in your teeth, and you have to do it again and again and again. So I think when everybody goes in those scenes, they usually choose a food that they would want to eat. It's not gonna be hanging from them or off their chin or whatever. And Jello's the perfect snack. It's air-light in your tummy and it doesn't stick to your teeth.
I choose foods that will give me gas.
No. On the left, we'll do another question.
To get, Alexis had them and they were supposed to be shared by you guys. The Ultimates, yeah. You guys said you were having a rough morning, so I dropped off the mints for y'all.
Oh, the mints.
Yes, the mints, breath mints.
Well, I don't know. You have them? I just started drinking again.
Oh, and I do have a question for Alexa. Did you get to sign Liz's bear yet? The StarGate Bears.
What?
The StarGate Bears. Michael, did you sign the bear? The Bears. The Bears. Did Alexa get to sign the bear, Harry Bear yet?
No, I didn't see a bear. Is there no bear?
Yes, there is.
Sweet candy. No way.
Oh, and for Paul, do you realize that the second time David Hewitt has killed you off? He killed you off in StarGate Atlantis itself, and now he's killing you off in Dog. It's Dog's Breakfast.
He killed me twice?
Well, it looks like he's killing you in the act.
He tries, yeah, he tries.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god, I just gave the movie one.
Sorry.
That's nice, yeah. Yeah, no, he's terrible, horrible man. Terrible kisser too, by the way. Looks like sandpaper.
We just want to give you guys like a quick 15-second tutorial on mic usage. If you're that far away from the mic, it will pick up what you're saying. We can actually hear you.
See, that was the problem. I always thought about hearing me. Normally you can hear me, but I didn't know that day. Eat mic.
This, good for getting a prom date. It's bad to hear you.
Chris, are you sitting beside Christopher Lloyd from Taxi?
Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean. Jason does a very good impersonation of Johnny Depp. Yes, he does.
I'm not drunk enough, like.
On the right.
Another question?
Yes. Your tattoo.
Put it closer. Closer.
The story behind your tattoo.
Closer. Children.
Okay, now I understand what you mean when you say it's difficult to work with Chris. The question was, the tattoos that you have. Yes, what is the story behind your tattoo for you and for mine?
Well, I just got it. I've only had it this new season. I went to Hawaii after last season, and my whole family has it. It's Mamoa, which is like a guardian, and it's the mono, which is the shark, and we get it tapped on the traditional way, and it goes down my leg. It's your genealogy, and then this is where your family animal, which is the shark. And yeah, I had it done with my father and my family, and we all have these, and I always wanted to do it, and I kind of did it without permission, but it's something that is very important to me and my family, and so I always wanted to have it done. And so we tapped it on the show, and tried to cover it up with other bands for about 5 episodes. So you'll see me a couple cut-offs. It's under there. And that's it.
Have a couple of more minutes for today's panel. Since most of you will be back and Claudia will be the one who won't be with us, I'd like to give Claudia a chance to say a few closing comments. Anything to the fans you'd like to say? Okay.
She said you should stand up and address the fans.
Did she? Well, who knows? I might have the baby tonight and just will be a little bit busy tomorrow morning. What?
Claudia, say some loving words to the fans.
Why am I given the great honor and pleasure of this? Is it because...
Because you won't be here tomorrow.
Okay. I'm really grateful that people accepted Vala because she was almost, it was almost as if the intention of the character was to be as irritating as possible. Well, I had such a ball playing her, and I think so much of how that character came across was achieved by the influence of the buoyancy on set and the atmosphere that you guys created every day, and I don't know, I wouldn't want to do comedy or attempt comedy any other way than to work with people like you guys, and so it's an equal, doses of gratitude to both the guys in the audience who've accepted Vala and to you guys for helping me create her. So thank you very much.
As we begin to close this panel for this afternoon, I would like...
Did you say we're done?
Not again. Chris rules.
Let's go another 10 or 15 minutes.
We have a panel that we're going to be doing later this evening. We started talking about roles you had in the past, so we dug down into the archives of yesterday, way back, and we found things that you were in many, many years ago. And we call the panel They Were In That. And some of the things that we will be showing are Chris Judge in let's see, you were in MacGyver with Richard Dean Anderson, and of course Cora Nemec. You played Parker Lewis. Yes. We might. You never know. We have some interesting things. We also have Michael Shanks. We have some interesting old clips from things that you've done in the past that we.
There's not a German film, perchance, is there?
And what we do...
Did someone just yell out gay porn? She yelled out gay porn.
You drew attention to it.
Where do you get that?
But what we wanted to do was just go back and play a little bit with some of the roles that you had been in the past. And we'd like to invite you down to the Hong Kong room later on tonight if you'd like to take a look at some of the roles that your colleagues have been in that maybe they would like you to never have seen. So consider joining us later tonight for what we call They Were In That. And there was a question that popped up. I think that this was more a Chris to Michael question. I think I heard you talk about it on a panel in the past where you asked Michael, what's with all the frowning? So is that something that you often wondered why Michael frowns so much as far as his Daniel character?
Well, actually, when I call their house and annoy them and say, we're supposed to be family, I haven't seen you in 2.5 days. And Lexi answers the phone, I always say, so where's the friend?
Generally, you say...
Okay, but we can't say that because there's kids. Well, I have this joke that, well, Shanks used to be the bitterest man in show business, but now it's the cat from the Battlestar, who has surprised me that he's even bitterer than you are. But it's a joke, just because Michael's not a morning person, and I am. And I can be the most grating person on the face of the earth, especially if I see that you're not liking it. So every morning for the last 11 years, he comes within an inch of stabbing me in the eye with a powder puff.
There's a slight misconception about this to say that Chris is a morning person. As you can tell, he's kind of an all-day person. And usually, especially in the early days of the show, morning was actually just a succession of the evening before. So when you're showing up and you've had about 4 hours sleep because you're memorizing your oodles of dialogue and he's got one line for the entire day.
Indeed.
comes in still half drunk from the night before with a big smile. Any of you that are married to a morning person, you know what that's like. And that's kind of what the last 10 years has been for me. Yeah, I married Kristen for years.
It is true. I want a divorce, I want half. I want half right now. And the half I want next time.
It's time. We have got to close this panel. We have another panel coming in, but they'll be back again tomorrow.